We're live. We're live. Okay. Hey everyone, Mike here. Michael. Mike's night. You know what it is. Uh, so I've had to do this recording 3 different times because there was an issue with my microphone, or there was like a audio issue that kept reoccurring every time I went to go edit the video or just the audio track. For some reason, my microphone was doing this clicking noise. It dipped, the audio dipped and it cut out and it started clicking every so often. I went back to my older episodes just to make sure it wasn't in any of them. Luckily, I should be fine in that case. It was only in the recent episode I was trying to record for, and it kept doing this. On the first, I figured out on the first episode during editing it was doing it very early on and throughout the entire thing. It was doing it. So what I did, I thought, okay, maybe it's the headphones I'm using. So I unplugged them and plugged them into my computer instead. So I tried using that and just having the microphone by itself. Did a whole episode, and it did it again. So I assumed that it was my cord. The cord I was using may have been bad. So right now I'm using an entirely different cord. Unfortunately, this cord also seems to be damaged as well, where it's bent at the entry point, the part that connects to the microphone too. It connects to the microphone, excuse me. And after listening in, I did like a brief testing for about like 2 to 5 minutes. It didn't click during that. I listened to the audio. There was no clicking. It came in just fine. So hopefully this time you won't hear it again. And if it happens again, well, I may need to consider getting a new microphone altogether. I could try fixing it, but when it comes to stuff like this isn't really my level of expertise. And to be honest, I really do want to continue doing this. I would have to upgrade regardless at some point. In terms of microphones, I was considering going through Yeti. I used Yeti microphones before, and they're fairly high quality, or at least decent quality. So I know that they will work just fine and do exactly what I needed to do. This one has honestly treated me pretty well over the years. I haven't had really any issues with it. This what's called 5 feet fine. I don't know how to say it, but either way, it's treated me pretty nice. I think if you're going to start like doing stuff like this, YouTubing, like podcasting, whatever you're going to do, this is a perfectly like good starter microphone. If you really just want to have something that's like not extremely expensive, I think I spent about $60 for this, or it was on sale because it was like Black Friday, Cyber Monday, something like that. So I got this for a fairly good price. And once I did get it, it hasn't gave me any troubles except for recently, which again I think it was just a cord, so I don't be playing a microphone for it. So hopefully again nothing happens. It'll be just fine going forward. So realistically, all this episode was supposed to be the first 2 times was essentially just an update about what's going on. So again, still looking for a job. I finally moved out. I'm in a new location. So if you hear any noises in the background, or it sounds very airy or echoey, my bad. I'm in a new location. It's outside of my control. So once I get a more permanent residence, I'll have something a bit better figured out. I'll have soundproofing and all that, blah, blah, blah. But essentially, I'm just in a new location, so it may sound a bit weird. You may hear noises that you haven't heard before, just clicking stuff in the background. Hopefully no one comes back here to start mowing their lawn again. Luckily, this should be fine this time. But in terms of that, just new location, new audio issues, of course, looking for a job. I actually recently got a lead onto something. I got an interview today, actually. It's a job. It's a sign printing or sign creation job where they create signs for different companies. So it could be like vinyl on the side of a van. It could be like a metal sign. It could be a neon sign for all I know. But when it comes to the location of this job, they want me in person. It's actually in Wisconsin. Wisconsin is a state I literally know next to nothing about. The only thing I know about them is they're known for cheese, and there's Capitals flag, Milwaukee. It's kind of ugly. I don't know why why I know that of all things. I think I know why. It was because one of my professors, who was of course a graphic design professor, they were talking about state flags, nations flags, and we were going over the states, and he said Milwaukee is one of the worst flags he's ever seen in terms of our state's flags, which to be honest, it's not very good. It looks like a hot mess. It's too much going on. The coloration is it bleeds your eyes, makes your eyes bleed. It's not exact. It's just not a good flag. But that's all I realistically know about Milwaukee. Here is fairly nice. It's really far up north. If you know where Chicago is, it's like literally one of the top row states. But other than that, no. It's a mystery to me. I mean, it would be kind of fun just to go check it out. But other than that, no, don't know next. I know next to nothing about Wisconsin. But unfortunately, it's the only job I've gotten a lead on in the past 4 months since I started looking, since I graduated, and it's literally the only place I've even gotten an interview for. Everywhere else has either ignored me, said no, we're not looking for anyone, or they're doing graphic design at their garage. So it's honestly just been a huge just a really long process, just literally just waiting for anything. Like you can, of course, I called in, I tried speaking to people, saying, oh, are you still hiring, are you still interested in hiring? Or I even took a trip, we'll talk about in a second, even tried to figure that out, and I just got nothing, next to nothing from anyone, from anywhere, just finding anything. So this is the first place, and if I get the job, then well, I guess I'm going to Wisconsin. Then there's no other. There's realistically nothing else I can do, except of course keep looking, which again just hasn't yielded any kind of results. Now I want to talk about this trip I took recently, which is a trip to North Carolina. I don't actually know if I spoke about this in the last episode. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. Who knows? But essentially, I took a trip up there, and if you don't know anything about North Carolina is actually a fairly pretty state, fairly mountainous in the west regions, and on the going towards the east, it flattens out a little bit. But yeah, North Carolina's a fairly pretty state. A lot of the cities there, the major cities anyway, ones I went to were Asheville, Charlotte, and I was supposed to go to Raleigh, which I assume would be about the same, but I cut it off fairly short on my trip. I cut it out of my short. I cut it out of my short trip. Excuse me, but in terms of the cities there, yes, they're very artsy cities. I went to Asheville first. Asheville was on the western side of North Carolina. Very hilly, very mountainous. It would be a wonderful place to go hiking if you know a good spot to go. If you know a good trail around there, it seems like a wonderful place to go hiking. It's not too hot out there. It's really cool. I don't think considered, but yeah, just the area that I was in. There's a lot of art galleries. There's a lot of like design firms. There was the entire city is just artsy in general. You could walk through that city for a couple of hours and you'll find something new around every corner. But I went there first. Of course I called places before I went there, tried to see if I can get any interview set up or anything, just a meeting of some sort. Again, couldn't get anything, and the worst part about that entire trip was the fact I just couldn't get into the door most of the time. Either the doors are just locked and you need a key card to get in. You buzzed in and said, no, we're not looking for anyone, or they wouldn't even let you in. Or simply put, again, there was just someone doing it outside of their garage. There is a side business in another business, and unfortunately, it was a waste of time. And realistically, I wouldn't say it was a waste of time if I learned something, but to be honest, I couldn't even get anything out of the trip. I went to a restaurant I like to go to while in Asheville. It was nice. Went to Charlotte, again, fairly nice city, very upkept, gentrification, as they say. A lot of homeless people, but there was a lot of gentrification there. The city still looked pretty nice. And I only went to like 2 places in like Charlotte out of like the 5 I went to Nashville because just timing. I said I would stop around 4 o'clock because that's when most businesses like that close anyway. And I went to like 2 places there. First place, someone's house. Second place, another garage. Like, okay, I'm done. I left North Carolina and I just went to my dad, who lives in Virginia at the moment. Went to go see him, spent some time with him, spoke with him, my stepmom, my little brother and sister. I just spent some time with them, and that's never a waste of time. Seeing family is always really nice. So I got to see them. They haven't seen me in like a few years, to be honest. Only because I was just busy with school. I was busy with work. I was trying to develop myself into a functional young man, which I already am. But still, I was trying to develop myself into something that was functioning in society. So I was always super busy. Unfortunately, I just never got time to go see them. But this time was nice, just to go hang out with them, speak with them, and I got some really good advice from both my dad and stepmom. Which was, of course, you don't really have to go into the machine. You can start your own business. You can learn a different skill, such as IT. I mean, I could go into IT considering my skill set. It would follow through with what I've already learned so far. So IT isn't off the table. I simply just need to go down that path and start, start researching it a bit more. But essentially, other than going to see them and spending time with them. By the way, there's a restaurant that my dad took me to called Cava, Cava. It's like a Mediterranean. It's a Greek Mediterranean style restaurant. It was extremely good. If you know what Chipotle is, it's essentially like that, except they actually give you decent proportions there. And it was so good. It was. If you have one near you, I recommend going just to try it out. It was, I I would give it like a 8 out of 10. Yeah, it was really that good. But essentially, other than going to see them, that entire trip was just a waste of time. It was nice to travel though, to just go around and just see the sights, enjoy like the road. I did. Weirdly enough, I did say I wouldn't take that trip again from where I was to Virginia by myself again. It was before, it was like a 9-hour drive because I was going to DC to see a friend I've never met before, and I went back down to go see my dad. It was altogether like 9 hours. But the trip I took that day was actually 12 hours. But I was on a mission, so I guess I could let that one slide. And again, I did take stops periodically, just go see different areas and try to figure something out there. So it wasn't like a straight drive for 12 hours. It's 12 hours overall throughout the entire 24-hour day. So it wasn't that bad. But other than that, I'm still trying to figure out what exactly I'm trying to do for my future. I'm at my point where I need a temporary job. Hopefully, like I said, this interview that I'm about to do will go well. I get the job. Again, it's in Wisconsin, so it'll take me some time to pack everything up I need and move there. I'll say about 2 weeks. And if I did go all the way up there, I wouldn't take everything with me. Of course not. That's too long of a drive. The amount of stuff I have. I was like, I'll take a small amount. I probably would stay up there for roughly, yeah. And in terms of a job, I would probably stay up there until I find another place to stay. I will only probably work at them for about at most 5 years. I do not see myself staying there for a very long time unless I get like a better position and I get paid a significant amount more. Then that will alleviate my time being there. I'll be more willing to stay there. In terms of like what they're willing to pay me, they're saying $20 to $25 an hour, which isn't bad. My manager, the manager I was working under before at my last job, he got paid around that. So to be honest, it's not exactly a bad idea. And also I can do my side gigs while I'm there too. Now I would have to bear in mind what's popular there, and then I would have to pay more attention to my online self-image. So if I'm going to start selling stuff online, then I need to start figuring out like copyright. I need to start figuring out how exactly do I go about this process in terms of selling things to people. Now I have an idea of what I can actually do. I'm on things like Fiverr, Redbubble, stuff like that. But in terms of if I'm going to be putting myself online, then I would need to figure out a copyright system, like having whatever I create, so it can't be stolen. If you don't know what copyright is, get from underneath your rock. If you're too young to understand what that is, essentially it's just a legal term that means anything that you create, that you stamp your name onto, it is yours. If someone tries to steal it, they're infringing on copyright, and they could be sued for it, or they would have to take it down to avoid getting struck down by copyright. It's a little bit more convoluted. It's a little bit more complicated than that. It's a lot more in depth to what I'm really saying. But in the simplest way possible, it's just whatever I create and I put online, it is mine. So no one else can steal it. If they try to steal it, then I can sue them for it, or I can tell them just take it down. And that's essentially what it is. I'm trying to learn that process a little bit more. I'm literally just trying to learn as much as I can at this moment. And in my opinion, in your 20s, well, to be fair, you can start earlier, but in your 20s specifically, this is by far the best time for you to start learning, to continue learning things. Because once you're older, your brain doesn't function as easily. It's not as efficient as when you're like in your early 20s, when you're a young adult. When you're a young adult, you're able to take in more information and retain it much easier than when you're a bit older. When you're a bit older, things become a bit harder. You slow down. Well, everything slows down once you're a bit older. Now, that's not to say that older people can't learn, but take into consideration, say the baby boomers. Their way of life was pretty much the same for longer periods of time, and going up into the modern day when everything is changing every few weeks, maybe even every few days. Like, for instance, the way that we go about voting, the way that we go about intaking information, the left or right, the way that they're sprouting information at us constantly. There's always new events happening. There's always something new just popping up. What can be, what's accepted, what's not accepted. Asking them, which they lived the same way for what, 20, 30 years, to all of a sudden changing every little thing that they think about, every little thing that they used to know within what, a few days, a few hours of when it happens. And it, the way that the modern world works, it just constantly being information is being thrown at you, and you expect to adapt at that point in time. And adaptation takes time. Adaptation takes effort. You can't just adapt on the fly. Now, when you're younger, you can do that because you have a better understanding of what led up to that moment, or you have a better understanding of, oh, this is what my peers think. When you're a bit older, try to understand people who are younger than you can be a hassle. Even now, even though I'm not that old. I'm approaching unk status, as the younger generation likes to say. Once you reach 30, shoot. Honestly, once you reach 25, people start calling you that. But essentially, once you reach a certain age period, yeah, it's. I'm not too privy on what a lot of people younger than me are doing or saying. Well, I can have an understanding because I like to speak to people. I like to try to understand what they're thinking about, what they're going through. So I talk to a lot of people, older, younger, my age. It doesn't really matter, and because I'm genuinely curious about what led you to think this way, or what's leading you to act on this process. I want to know, only because it helps me understand better. And if you were asking for my opinion, then I can give you a better explanation of what I am thinking, or what I truthfully want to say, instead of going around in circles trying to understand something that clearly isn't like connected with me. So, and there's that where a lot of time they just move way too quickly into doing something without thinking it through. And if like, I'm looking at something, okay, I don't understand why you're doing this. Looking from an outside perspective, it doesn't really make sense why you're doing this either. A lot of the time it's like, if you just waited, or if you went about this a different way, you would have better results. You may have not gotten it first try, but you may have gotten better results off just waiting, or just looking into this with a different method, or a different set of eyes, or just getting like someone else's opinion. It comes to a lot of what like modern online life is. Your opinions are no longer a thing, or rather, opinions are treated as an end-all be-all. When someone says, I do not think this is correct, that automatically means that they're incorrect. Whatever they say, if it doesn't apply to what your beliefs are, they're automatically incorrect. They automatically should be ostracized from a society, not given a chance. You shouldn't explain yourself about why exactly they're wrong. No. All this, when in modern society, it's more of either you follow our opinion, or you're just a reject. There's no in between anymore. And how an opinion should work is, this is what I think. This is what I think. This is why I think this. And this is the evidence I have to why I believe this. And I want to hear your opinion, because what you say, even if I don't agree with it, the parts that you're saying, I didn't know. And it can really help reshape what I'm currently thinking. It can help elevate it can help elevate everyone else's plane of thinking. It can help elevate your plane of thinking from hearing what I have to say. And that's a lot of the issue where I think that our current society is having, is that we're not talking to each other. We're screaming at each other. We're yelling at each other. We're not listening. We have our opinion. We stick to it, but we don't take the time to like sit down and like, okay, why do you think this way? Or this is why I believe this. So instead of going out in circles, wasting time, what is that noise? I don't know. But essentially, instead of going out in circles, wasting time doing that, is yelling at each other, I do believe that if you take the time and try to explain, I think that, yes, expanding the city is good, but is taking away too much from the local environment. It's causing too much stress on it's going to cause irreparable damage to our city if we keep encroaching on the local environment. It's going to cause too much damage to the environment, to the point that, yeah, it's not going to heal. We're going to have systemic issues going down into the future. And maybe someone who's for like city development, they can say, oh, I did not know how much impact it had on the environment, and I didn't know how much the environment impacted us. And it's just, it's too much. It's like I'm just giving you an example. I'm not going to delve too deep into that, but essentially, there's a lot of that going around where I do think if we just try to sit down and listen to what everyone else had to say instead of just trying to scream out why they're wrong or the fact that they are wrong, or maybe not even that they're wrong. That's not what I believe. So you are wrong. I do think that we should try listening a bit more instead of being so stuck up in our own ego, which I do think is what a lot of it is ego and the fact that you want to seem like you are the important person or you're the one who's always going to be right. No, if everyone was right, then we wouldn't have issues in society as we do. If one side was clearly right at all times, then no, we wouldn't have the issues that we do. People have different opinions. People have different ways of life. People have different needs that they have. Every state has different laws. These different laws affect people in different ways, different ethnicities, and are in those ethnicities, they have their own like cultural issues. They have their own cultural needs. Every single person needs something completely different. And the fact of the matter is, we're just never going to hit every little thing, because one person thinks that they want this or they need this. Well, that other group doesn't need this at all. They literally, it doesn't affect them whatsoever. So there's too many issues going into that, and I do think that it's like a separate but it's still a main problem is we focus on too much at one time instead of trying to reel in. Okay, I'm gonna hard focus this. For instance, I think at the moment we have a major housing crisis. It's not, well, I don't even think it's the case. We have a major housing crisis, and there's a whole bunch of laws going around where they're trying to kick homeless people off the street. They're trying to remove them from the public view. They're outright just not helping them whatsoever. And there's people who are like me, who are young. They're trying to find a place, and while some people like me, they have better success in finding places like that, or there's something that they have investments, or whatever the case. They different ways of life, different needs, different wants. But essentially, for people like me who are still young, trying to find their place in terms of society, they're trying to find jobs, they're trying to find things. There's so many things going against us at the moment, whether that be the housing crisis, whether that be the job crisis, whether that be mental health, blah blah blah. This again, too much to go down. What we need to do, what I think we need to do is, while we can have primary things we want to go for, whether that be housing, the healthcare system, whether that be mental health, whatever you want to do. We need to sit down and have a hard focus. Like we need to hard focus on these things. So I think we need to take 5 things, maybe not even 5, maybe like 2 or 3, and say, as a community, as a society, we need to fix this. Because right now we're focusing too much what's going on overseas. We're focusing too much about what's happening over there. Realistically, they shouldn't affect us really that much. Like I know that like maybe some of them are trade partners, or maybe we have allies over there. I understand that. I get it. But right now, I do think America is in a really bad spot. Honestly, I don't even know what I was talking about originally, but essentially, I'm going to keep talking about this real quick. But America is in a really bad spot where there's too many issues going around and not enough that's going into fixing it. Or rather, we talk about what needs to be fixed, but what are we actually doing to fix it? And instead of focusing on that major issue, we jump onto a next issue. We jump onto another issue. There's another one next week, probably. I don't even know what was going on today. I didn't watch the news. But essentially, we keep going issue to issue. Like we're going to issue like this, that, and that. Like every few days, it's like something completely different. Like it's completely different. It doesn't even affiliate with the thing that we were talking about before, and we keep doing it. And I'm just trying to figure out, okay, we're doing this, but what are we doing to fix it? Because I feel like right now there's a lot of stuff going on in the background that's not being controlled by the people who need stuff to happen. It's being controlled by the people who are trying to control everything else to make their way of lives better, and make sure that ours isn't functioning as it should, or it isn't functioning as efficiently as it could be, or we're not seeing the same amount of success, we're not seeing the same amount of prosperity as we once did, just because people who are in control currently are just tearing us apart bit by bit. Again, they throw things at our face that do not matter, whether that be whatever the hell Trump is doing today or whatever the hell someone's doing in California. I don't care about California. I'm on the complete opposite side of the country. Why do I care? I don't care what your sexuality is. I do not care what you identify as, and do not take it the wrong way. If that's the way you want to live, I respect it. As long as you aren't like actually actively going after people, as long as you're not trying to enforce your way of life onto someone else who lives a completely different life, I cannot stress that enough. You're fine by my books. Wait, just live your life and live as free as you possibly can. You only get one life. Some live longer than others. And so that's all I really care about. Just live the life that you believe that you deserve. Live the life that you want, but just do not try to take it out on everyone else. So again, I don't care about that. I really don't. It's not my business to really know about all that, and I just really don't care. I'm gonna treat you the same way I treat everyone else. If I'm gonna treat you nice at first. If I feel like you're someone who has a good head on their shoulders, okay, then we'll continue talking. I'll continue treating you the same way. If you're someone I think is completely out of their mind, then I'm gonna cut it off short, and I'm gonna keep my day moving. I'll keep my life moving. I'll probably never see you again anyway. I mean, for those of you who get set by things online, literally put your phone down. Put the phone down, put the computer down, go read a book, go take a hike, go fishing. And off of that, I'm actually going to get off that really long tangent I had. I don't even know what the heck I was talking about. I'm going to get off that tangent. I'm actually going to go into what I really want to talk about in the other episodes, which was fishing in general. So for any of you who've been on here before, you know I like fishing. It's one of my favorite hobbies to do. Fishing is a very relaxing sport. It is a sport. And fishing is just a way to relax. It's a way to take in natural air. It's a way to listen to the environment around you. If you want to throw a line out, read a book, you can do that. If you want to throw a line, just listen to music and just think about what's going on. Hey, that's all you, buddy. If you want to just go out to a dock, open up, crack a beer, and start talking with like your brother, your friend, whatever else you want to talk to, hey, by all means. Fishing is just that kind of. It's just kind of that outdoor. I don't know what it is. It's just that kind of outdoor activity. It's where realistically, it's just a way for you to truly forget about everything else around you, just relax. And if you catch a fish, a adrenaline rush from that is excellent. It's a wonderful way to, work your muscles. A wonderful way to get some exercises, and it's a wonderful way just to get some fresh air. If you're someone like me who's online a lot just because that's what your job is, you're on the computer a lot, you're listening to music, you're doing a lot of stuff indoors, while that's all fine and dandy, sometimes you just need to go outside and just stretch. You need to go outside and just feel the dirt, touch some grass, as they say, climb a tree, go lick a bug. But there was a spot that one of my favorite things about fishing is not even always fishing itself, is honestly the exploration process. Whenever I go out fishing, I really enjoy finding like a natural spot that's away from like roads or away from cities. That's one of my favorite things about living out in the country is I get to go outside and just go explore sometimes. See all the different kinds of wildlife, the different kinds of birds. Woodpeckers are wonderful. Spiders, the frogs, the turtles, the other fish. Sometimes you see a gator every so often, snakes, anything like that. And one of my favorite spots in the place that I used to live was a space I had to kind of work to get to. It was a hiking. It was like a park, but it's called Old River. But essentially, yeah, I will go out there and I'll drive out. The roads are terrible. There's a pothole that if I dipped in there too much, my car would have flipped. But essentially, you go out there, like park outside, and you walk out towards the riverbank. If you had a boat, you can of course do kayaking or throw a line up on the boat out there, which I really wish I could have done. But that's not really important right now. Essentially, I'll go out there. It was like a ledge. One of my favorite spots out there was a ledge. It was like a couple feet tall. It was above the riverbank. You could just put a chair out there and look over the side. Hopefully, don't get snagged in a tree. Just draw a line, and you can or if you want to go explore, you can go on off the side. You can start hiking down the riverbank, and it was actually pretty. It was actually a fairly pretty place. There was always a lot to see. There was good views. The trees, the way that they were, it created such a mystical atmosphere. It was so nice being out there, seeing all these rare native flowers or these rare native bugs. Like I love to see the banana spiders out there. If you don't know what a banana spider is, it's just a very long spider. It's fairly big. The webs they create give them another name called a golden orb weaver. Essentially, their webs are like a yellowish tint. If you look at it from a certain angle with the light hitting it, it looks golden. It's actually a fairly pretty spider, and they're not really. I don't believe they're a threat to humans. They're fairly calm, but they are kind of big. So if you're afraid of spiders, hey, too bad, I guess. But yeah, just going out there and exploring, climbing some trees, seeing all the strange wildlife out there. There was a really big fish one day out there. I don't know what it was, but it still lingers in my mind of, oh, that was interesting. But you know what? I don't think I've ever caught anything out there. I think I was using the wrong equipment. But regardless of that, just going out there and just hiking through it, just enjoying the time out in nature is always wonderful. But that leads me into why I'm even talking about fishing in the first place, because I wanted to talk about my favorite TV show ever created, which is a fishing show. Now, fishing shows in general, or like, when you see one, you kind of see them all. There's usually like a young guy with a cab on a boat going out and throwing a line, usually like a sport competition where they catch the most amount of fish or they catch the biggest fish. They go back to weigh it and see who wins, or they or something along the lines of, oh, they have a specific fish they want to catch and they're trying to teach you how to catch it, or they're talking about how to catch it. And it's a reality TV show, so it's like, it's not that complicated. Or yeah, essentially, I used to watch a lot of Animal Planet when I was younger. I like nature documentaries. If you think it's lame, well, I don't care. I find them enjoyable. I like learning about stuff like that. But when it comes to those kind of shows, there's only one show that I hold with such high regard because of the sheer insanity that show represents, which was River Monsters. For those of you who know me, most of you know what River Monsters is, but I'll explain it for anyone who doesn't know what it is, who don't watch TV or don't know anything about it. So again, this was a show that aired on Animal Planet with a producer named Jeremy Wade. And River Monsters was essentially a murder mystery show, but fishing. So the premise is they don't seem that they would connect. The way that they go about creating this show was spectacular. So the essential premise was there was a homicide case, not even a homicide case. It was like a murder. There was a death. There was a mutilation of some kind, and there's a rumor about it. There's a mystery about it. There's myths. There's stories. There's an entire case file, like a file on it, but there was they never caught the culprit, or they never figure out what exactly it was. So what Jeremy Wade does, he introduces the case. He says, "Oh, this is what happened. This is the reason that it did happen, and these the culprits I believe it could be." And from there, he what he actually does, he doesn't just go strictly online and go do research. He goes out to the region. So in the entire show, he's gone literally all over the world. He's gone to Australia. He's gone to the Nile River in Africa. He's gone to the Amazon rainforest in South America. He's gone to, of course, he's done places in America, like whether that be Alaska, the Mississippi, Missouri, or one of the Great Lakes. He's gone to certain parts of Asia. He's gone to Europe, of course. I mean, it's literally one of the locations he went to, which again may help you understand how crazy this show actually was. He went to Chernobyl in Ukraine, and he literally went out to the region that was still irradiated to go catch a certain kind of catfish that still survived the initial incident. But yes, he goes literally all over the world, and he catches mythical creatures, or creatures that have mythos around them, whether that be their deity, they're seen as deities, they're seen as sacred, they're seen as complete monsters. Like the show entails, a lot of the creatures that he catches are monstrous in size, or they're monstrous in the way that they look. In fact, I'll go ahead and I'll showcase some of the fish that he has caught, or some of the creatures that he has caught over the career. And keep in mind, this is 9 seasons. I don't know how many episodes per season, but essentially there are 9 seasons of this. But the only reason that the show was stopped in any way was because he literally caught everything that could be caught. The Animal Planet themselves, or the people who produced it themselves, said he literally just caught everything. There's nothing else that we can really go down into. There were so many things that was so rare that the fact that he saw them, he got them on camera, is like a world record. and like on so many cases like this. Like for instance, he caught world record fish, like in terms of like his stingray catch, which he had to reel up for hours on end because A, it was in a gigantic fish, and B, it was like 700 pounds. Not only did he do that for so long, he literally he did irreparable damage to his arm because he tore his muscles so bad, his tendon so bad that his arm never healed the same. I want you to keep in mind that Jeremy Wade, he was the only person doing this. He was doing this in his 60s. He's 60. He's by far one of the best athletes in the world, strictly for that reason. Like fishing things like this out for hours on end in the location that he's in, on small little boats, on really slippery riverbanks, catching monstrous fish like this. For the most part, by himself. There are some episodes where he does have help, or he just has harnesses to help him out because, again, he is a 60-year-old man doing all this. But one of my favorite things about the show wasn't even because the things that he caught. While they were super cool, and learning about them and all the like biological details about them, those are always super cool. But one of my favorite things about the show was the fact that no, he didn't go to like high-end clients to go speak with them. He wasn't like, well, he probably does have a lot of money, but he doesn't go to like mansions. He's not talking to other people like him. He's going out into the regions that he's going to. He's speaking to the locals. He's going out to the markets. He's speaking to locals. He's speaking to these villages that are pretty isolated away from like most societies. He's speaking to them. He's getting an understanding of what do they think about this kind of creature. Do they believe it's a deity? Do they believe it's a monster, a demon of some kind? And he asks them, okay, what do you call it in your local language? He goes out, he gets an understanding of what he's going after. And that's the mystery part I really enjoy about it. Where he breaks it down bit by bit. Okay, this is more than likely what caused this incident, or this is more than likely the creature that I'm looking for. This is exactly what I'm trying to hunt. And there's times where the villagers, while they do help him, they say, okay, we'll take you out to the region that they're mostly spotted in. However, we do request that you follow our tradition. We hunt to eat them. We hunt and release, or we don't even like really catch them. Or if you catch them, we release them immediately. And there's times where if you're doing something with like scientists, yeah, if they tag the fish, yeah, he'll go ahead and tag it for research purposes and or go ahead and release it. But he respects the culture that he's speaking to. If they catch it a certain kind of way, he doesn't like always go out of this line and reel. He does it his own way. Yes, for most episodes he does do that because he wants to get an understanding of the fish with his own hands. That way, that's the way he normally does it. But if they have a certain way that they go about fishing, like for instance, they throw out nets, or they use a certain type of fly fishing where they just draw the line out with their bare hands. They reel it in by pulling on the string or rope or whatever they have. Then he'll go ahead and showcase how they properly do it. And there's parts where he's going about it, and he actually fails. He fails pretty spectacularly a couple of times. Like for instance, when he's throwing out a certain type of net, there's a technique that the locals use where they throw out the net, and it spins and unravels and goes over a large area and just waits on the net, so it helps create the shape, and then it sinks to the bottom and they catch whatever gets trapped in it. He fails at it. He fails pretty bad, and there's a point where he said, okay, could you just asking the local man, okay, could you show me how to do this properly? I just want you to demonstrate it, and I'll try again. He does it over and over and over again until he actually gets pretty decent at it. So it's stuff like that where he's going about doing all this. And I just genuinely I think this is where my genuine interest in learning about how people go about their daily lives comes from, where he took the time to really sit down to try to understand why he believes in a deity. He tries to understand the mythos about it. He tries to understand how do people live. He tries to understand what could have caused the incident that happens. So I think that's realistically where a lot of that came from. Is I just like to learn about it. It was so interesting, and it gave me a perspective of, well, even though they don't have the same things that we do, they don't go about it the same way, they still find a way to survive. They still find a way to find value in the life around them. And I do want to emphasize, like, again, a lot of the fish that he goes for are monstrous in either their size, their strength, or just the way that they go about living their lives. So again, I probably showed you some of them, like the Goliath tigerfish, the one that had all the teeth on it. Now that's one that's found in, I believe, Africa. I think he was in Congo when he fished that one out. But they're found in Africa. I think they're found in the Amazon rainforest as well. But they hunt birds by jumping out of the water and launching. They launch themselves out of the water and grab them out of the air. Like the one that he had was gigantic. I cannot stress enough how big these fish are. One of my favorite ones he went for was called the arapaima. The arapaima is a South American fish. If you ever had the pleasure of or misfortune of seeing one, they are like 2 to 3 times longer than a grown man. And the way that they're thought of as being like torpedo fish, the scales are so hard that you will have extremely difficult time cutting through even with a knife. The scales are gigantic. They are extremely durable. But the way that they hunt is they essentially they attack so fast that the fish is stunned or whatever they're going for. They could be birds, fish, frogs, turtles, other mammals. It doesn't matter. But they attack it so quickly that it stuns them. It paralyzes them. However fast they attack them with. So most of the time they use like suction. They just take in a lot of water or air and they suck it up. But other times, if they for self-defense or to go after something that's maybe a bit above them, they will launch themselves out of the water. The amount of power they have behind them is they can cave in a grown man's chest, which actually happened to Jeremy Whiteout. He didn't die from it, of course, but he got hit by a medium-sized or even a small arapaima, and it knocked him a couple feet away from the fish. He had severe bruising on his chest. I believe he said he had fractures on his ribs. And if the fish was any bigger or it used any more power, it realistically would have killed him. And he went on onto the episode. He stated this. But I think he even showed like some of his CAT scans. But essentially, yeah, the fish that he goes for are terrifyingly big. They're terrifyingly powerful. Catfish, arapaima, tigerfish. He's going after different kinds of sharks: bull sharks, Greenland sharks, tiger sharks. I believe he did a tiger shark. It's been a while, to be honest. Barracuda, and like he has done so much. He even did a couple episodes with squid and stuff like that. But to that end, he's also gone into the ocean to go fishing because, like, once again, he ran out of stuff in rivers to go for, so he went into the ocean, which generally has a lot more in terms of monstrous fish, monstrous or rare creatures. One of the rarest creatures that he had on his show was actually the oarfish. The oarfish is an extremely rare fish that you don't see very often. There's, I believe, below less than like 5 videotaped cases of seeing an oarfish, but they are extraordinarily rare. And he caught one of these fish on camera while being underwater, and is by far one of the rarest like creatures that was seen on the series. And he's done this multiple times where he's found many extraordinarily rare fish, and he shows them off. Most of the time, like, he catches and releases, but again, depending on the culture he's next to, he may donate them to the tribe as respect for the tradition. He may he tag them for research purposes. I don't think he may have eaten some of them. I don't remember this. Again, 9 seasons of this, and it's been a while since I've seen it. I may binge watch it again if I have the time. But this is literally why this is one of my favorite shows, period. There's no other show quite like it. And Animal Planet has even tried to, or not even Animal Planet, just nature's like channels or shows in general have tried to replicate the success of this show. And they failed because no one else does it quite like Jeremy Wade did. And no other like series goes about it the same way. Oh yes, they may do similar things. I don't think they go about it. They don't have the same kind of mystery. And besides, since Jeremy Wade, I don't think he did it first, but I think he just did it the best. The way that he spoke, I don't know where he's originally from, but he has like he has a strong European accent. He's pretty respectable on his show, and for the most part, he just has good charisma. And yeah, well, you can say that about some of the other guys too. Is like, for the most part, he's an older guy doing all this. I think that's just, first off, that's amazing. That's respectable by itself. A 6-year-old man doing the same things that he's doing. I cannot stress this enough that he's probably one of the best athletes in the world for the sole reason he is doing that at his age. With the creatures that he has to battle almost every single episode. Again, he was doing irreparable damage to his body. There are some things that he was catching that could have literally killed him several times over, and he still managed to pull through. But it was so interesting. And I cannot stress enough. If you haven't seen the show, if I just recommend watching it. It's a good. I think it's a good watch if you're into mystery shows. It has that for you. If you're into nature shows, it's literally that. If you're into just seeing how a different region look, or what like nature from different regions, or things that or maybe even societal issues that those regions are having, he does talk about them. He does go over some of them. He doesn't go like super in depth. Like I think he was in, I think, Mongolia. I don't remember which episode that was, but he was talking about like tigers in the region. He's watch out for those. Or there's been bandits in the region that he's in. Yeah, there's just things like that. But it's so interesting because it wasn't just about nature. Well, it's the primary premise was about the wildlife in the region, or of course the creatures that live in the river, or things that are just in the general area. He's showing you like cultural things. He's showing you societal things. He's showing you things that they're struggling with, things that they excel at. He's showing you things that most other media outlets don't even talk about. One of my favorite episodes was when he went to a region. I all three episodes I looked this up, and on all three episodes I can't even remember where village this is. The Baju people, but he went to is the Baju people are in Southeast Asia, the Philippines, Malaysia, and Indonesia, but they're a village of people who live entirely on the open water. They live in the ocean. They don't have any they don't really have any mainland like buildings or anything like that. They live entirely off the sea. They're known as sea nomads or sea gypsies. But he went over there. He spoke to people there. The reason he was there, because again, the mystery was, there was a young boy who was swimming out in the ocean, who was fishing, trying to help his village, or he's playing around. I don't remember what it was, but essentially he was out there in the water, and his crown jewels got ripped off. And he was trying to figure out what exactly it was. I'm not going to tell you what fish it was. I think I said that on the other two episodes, but we're not going to do that. I would rather you watch it, try to figure out yourself. But I also learned that they actually have a higher, not lung capacity, but the way they have a bigger liver. It allows blood to have more oxygen, allows them to dive deeper for longer periods of time, and that's an adaptation that only they have, because they live their entire lives in the sea. They fish. Their entire lives are based around fish and what's in the ocean. So of course they evolved to have like higher lung capacities, a bigger liver, better circulation. Maybe they have better webbing. I don't know, but essentially it's things like that where he shows this off and he explains it. He talks to the people and they explain it to him, and he of course translates to us. He probably does have a translator, but I do believe he's probably bilingual in some respects. I don't think that he probably doesn't have like he probably doesn't know what everything that they're saying. Of course, he's went around the entire planet. I doubt he knows every single language. I do believe that he's more than likely bilingual. I don't know what he's bilingual with, but he probably has a translator. Even then, he still explains to us what they say, explains to us what they're thinking, explains to us the rules that they have. It's just my favorite thing about the show. Hopefully, again, I fixed the issue with this crackling, because this was by far one of the best recordings I had of this entire episode. I'm just, please, microphone, please help me out here. I don't want to do this again. I want to do another episode. I want it to be a different topic. Please help me out here. But I thank God for listening. Again, go watch the show. I really recommend it. Go read a book. Go outside. Go enjoy the outdoor life. Again, you really won't be able to once you're older. You really won't be able to at a certain point. So I'm just saying, go enjoy the freedom of life whenever you can. Go get a hammock. Go just kick it up a little bit. Go get a basket of oranges or something. Blueberries even. Pears, I don't care. Go get a spear. Go boar hunting. Doesn't really matter. Just enjoy your life. Don't get so stuck up on the minute details of every little thing that's happening in your day. Disconnect from the news. Disconnect from your phone. Get off the computer for a little while. You might be polluting your minds way too much. And maybe if that's what you do, by all means. But just have a hobby. Have something that distracts you from all that. I've been speaking to too many people. They are stressing out way too much. I get it. Life's hard. There's a lot of things that go on in life that that you need to focus on. There's things that you need to understand. Things that you need to really prioritize in your life. And I get it. Life sucks sometimes. I'm not negating that whatsoever. There's certain things that you will be going through that I will never understand, or I will never know, just because that's you. That's all you. And I get it. but you need to take care of yourself sometimes. Sometimes you just need to disassociate. Sometimes you just need to clear yourself, and maybe that even that leads to you having a breakthrough of maybe your artist block. Maybe that gives you a breakthrough of, oh, I can go about it this way instead of you're too short. Tunnel vision into what's bothering you. Instead, take some time and go and just relax for a little bit. Take in some fresh air. And also, while I'm thinking about this, I did have word of a day for the past few days. For each word of the day, it's always been lackluster. Always been easy. Give me a hard one. Oh my lord, it goes opposite of what I want. Well, anyways, I guess it goes in theme of what I was talking about. Today's word of the day is apathy. Apathy refers to the lack of feeling or emotion, or lack of interest or concern. Yes, you can have apathy over some of people's problems. Sometimes you do need to have a bit of apathy, because there's things that people are going through that they try to put onto you that's not your business, or something that you can't figure out that's ultimately up to them. But it's also, if with your apathy, you should also have some humility and sympathy. There's things that, yes, they're going through. And there's some things that they're going through that, hey, you just can't help. You just can't help. They need to figure it out on their own. You can give them your two piece, and you can have them all their way. Sometimes you just got to be like that. And of course, there's also what was I thinking about? I remember. Whatever. Yeah. Thank y'all. Thank you for listening. What do I always say? Go call your dads, give him a hug, ask him how his day was. Give him something nice. Give him a drink. It doesn't have to be a beer. Just give him a drink. Do something nice for him. Call your moms. Make sure that she's doing well. Pet your dog. Don't fight your brother and sister. Give him a hug. And, have a good day. Thank y'all for listening, and deuces.